Goosebumps, a children's horror brand that was synonymous with libraries of the 90s and still is to this day. Although, at least at the time of this video, there's nowhere near the amount of Goosebumps merchandise out in stores like there was back in the day. Some casual old school Goosebumps readers may not have been fully aware of just how much product there was available to us beyond the books and stationery. Clothing, accessories, toys, games, Goosebumps really did it all. If you're a completist who's just starting to collect vintage Goosebumps memorabilia, it might become an impossible task to acquire it all. Being a huge Goosebumps fan myself, I try to limit what I collect beyond the books. That being said, I mainly just have a couple of one-off items that I find cool and interesting. This brings us to the subject of this video, Goosebumps Inksters. Hybrid squirt bottles shaped as memorable Goosebumps characters. While these guys were advertised to squirt water, their main attraction was discharging disappearing ink. Now, the fine folks over at Toymax provided us with a perfect-sized canister of ink, but since this is still in package and will remain there until the Earth flies into the sun, we need to go another route. I found some replacement ink at my local Five Below, but I'm sure it can be found at any novelty shop as well. Unscrew the canister. Top it off. Screw it back on, and you have your entire weekend ahead of you. Before we try it out, and I know you're all dying to see it, let's take a second to appreciate how amazing this box is. For those unfamiliar, this box is a great representation of the general vibe all Goosebumps merchandise gave off. Kinda like if Saved by the Bell altered their intro for a Halloween episode. Oh, and Toymax knew these Inksters were no gamble and left nothing on the cutting room floor. Just look at all the characters you can collect. In all honesty, this makes it a lot easier for us collectors to complete the set today. Both characters are still extremely difficult to find, especially at a lower price, so be alert. I couldn't help but notice that the box warns us that this ink may stain silk. What better way to test this guy out than to make him spray ink all over these disgusting 100% silk pajama bottoms we picked up secondhand. We'll also try some 100% cotton as well, just for the experience. You'd think this would only be fun in the company of other people, but doing it over 20 years later by yourself's a blast, let alone filming yourself doing it. What a rush. And there's your result. Either you had nothing to worry about back in the 90s, or they've made incredible headway in disappearing ink technologies over the years. Again, these guys are only a small sample of all the vintage Goosebumps crap that's out there, so take your pick if you're just starting out. They're totally worth tracking down if you're patient enough. Highly recommended for any Goosebumps fan.